Good evening. My name is Jaimee, and the claim I'm refuting is American officials do little to stop the current war in Mexico. First, the evidence of the first secondary claim of United States officials failed to shut down the flow of weapons in Mexico is unreliable. Second, the reasoning of the first secondary claim of, again, the U.S. officials failed to shut down the flow of weapons into Mexico is incorrect. Third, my last response to the second secondary claim of United officials failed to fight against drug distribution is counterclaim. The United States controls drug distribution through its various strict enforced laws passed by the United States government. First, the evidence used in the first claim of United States officials failed to shut down the flow of weapons into Mexico is unreliable. My response is, according to the RNC, Republican National Committee, the actual percentage of weapons found in Mexico that have origins in the United States is 17%, not the 90% that's making the headlines. The evidence statement from the Mexican ambassador, Arturo Saracon, stated that 90% of weapons seized in Mexico comes from the United States is flawed. The actual statement from the source CBS is, as late as Sunday, Arturo Saracon, Mexican ambassador to Washington, alleged on a U.S. talk show that 90% of weapons seized in Mexico comes from the United States. Those headlines are being used by the Obama administration to blame the U.S. for the drug violence in Mexico. According to the Washington Times, the Obama administration is fudging when it comes to the claim that 90% of guns used in crimes in Mexico comes from the United States. Those bogus statistics are being used as an excuse to push gun control. The ambassador used 90% number to justify new gun bans in the United States. President Obama, Attorney General Eric Holder, Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, and Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano all have made policy recommendations based on this claim. The CBS source is from talk show, not from an official statement from the Mexican government, so the evidence is unreliable. Second, my second response to the first claim of United States officials failed to shut down the flow of weapons in Mexico is President Obama announced that he will not seek the renewal of the U.S. assault weapon ban, but instead will step up enforcement of laws banning the transfer of such guns across the border. The reasoning process in the first claim of United States officials failed to shut down the flow of weapons in Mexico is flawed due to the fact of the expiration of the assault weapon ban in 2004 does not correlate to the statement from Ambassador Saracon. The limited amount of legal assault weapons sold in America cannot be responsible for the drug war in Mexico. The ban was only on 19 different types of assault weapons. The assault weapons apprehended from officials were from many different types of assault weapons, not just the ones legalized in America. For example, according to ICE initiatives to combat Southwest border violence, Arizona is investigating 2 individuals who attempted to smuggle 9 automatic AK-47 assault rifles to Mexico. The automatic version of the AK-47 is illegal to purchase in America, so the enforced laws will help decline the transfer of guns, not the expiration of the gun ban. My last response to the second claim of United States officials failed to fight against drug distribution is a counterclaim. The United States officials control drug distribution through its various strict enforced laws passed by the United States government. We have declared war on drugs since Richard Nixon in 1969. The war on drugs is a prohibition campaign undertaken by our government and with the assistance of participating countries, intended to reduce the illegal drug trade to curb supply and diminish demand for substances. The initiative includes a set of laws and policies that are intended to discourage the production, distribution, and consumption of targeted substances. For example, the Controlled Substance Act, which the U.S. drug policy under which the manufacture, importation, possession, and use of distribution of certain substances is regulated. Since the war on drugs began, our government has spent millions of dollars on controlling the distribution of drugs. So the United States controls drug distribution through its various strict enforced laws by passing laws from the United States government. In conclusion, my 3 responses are: 1, the actual percentage of weapons found in Mexico to have origins in the United States is 17%, not the 90%. 2, Obama announced that he will not seek the renewal of the U.S. assault weapon ban, but instead will step up enforcement, banning the transfer of guns across the border. And 3, the U.S. controls drug distribution through its very strict enforced laws passed by the United States government. Thank you.
All right, you labeled the claims pretty clearly. You've got contradictory claims, or your counterclaims, kind of mixed in with the signpost in the preview, so that was a little confusing, but it was clearer as you got to the individual points. On the first point about the statistics concerning the percentage of guns that come from the United States, the 17% figure, I think you need a source on that, but there's an explanation about why maybe that 90% figure is not particularly reliable, although it does seem it's a little conclusionary since it simply comes from a talk show. I think there could be a little bit more clear explanation about why that 90% seems to be unrealistic. Transition to the second point was very clear. The argument about transferring it across the border, in other words, instead of focusing on the assault weapons ban, they're going to focus on transfers. I thought that's an okay argument. That Obama's taking that particular action seems to be counterindicative to the claims that we're doing nothing. And I thought that you had a good piece of factual data in that AK-47s in their automatic form are illegal in the United States anyway, and so the notion that legal arms from the United States are being shipped to Mexico is undermined by that particular example, although it would be good if we knew what percentage of the assault weapons that are seized in Mexico were those automatic AK-47s. The counterclaim on the last point is that basically we are taking interdiction efforts to prevent drugs. We've got the war on drugs that started in 1969. I thought this was a good counterexample. You talk about extensive laws that are designed to discourage the use of drugs, to drive people out of the marketplace, to limit the supply, that sort of thing. Some demonstration that any of that's effective might be helpful there. The summary was okay. There's a little bit too much reading, and I think that you need to do a little bit more explaining. You've got, I think, some issues to present, but the explanations are not always as clear because you're so focused on, kind of plowing through the content that you've written there. All right, thank you.